What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Spy, Tsla, and the overall market. I'm going to break down some big news involving NIO as we have a new partnership that's been announced. Not to mention some new developments on the share price, which is looking quite good so far. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, as far as NIO is going, we have a nice double bottom like structure here as we're seeing some buyers defend. We're making higher lows, and I think we're doing a good job thus far. But if we could break this resistance, it's going to be an even better sign. Now, with the market trying to push higher, I just want to say that so far things are looking quite decent for NIO. However, there's going to be a big catalyst for tomorrow that could affect whether or not this continues. So, as a reminder, right now we have a neutral rating from JP Morgan, and our price price ratio is going up as NIO is building a lot of strength compared to the market. Tuesdays tend to be green about 55% of the time historically, which is a good sign. And overall, we're seeing some nice growth. Now, despite this, let me just say that NIO is talking about their ET5. This is a nice SUV that could help them get a lot more sales. Pretty good to give this some exposure. And then on top of this, we have some bullish news that came out. NIO has a partnership agreement with CATL. That is, once again, the largest battery manufacturer on the planet. And they're going to be investing $346 million into building a battery swap network across China in collaboration with the EV maker NIO. That is great news as they're expanding their battery swapping technology. It's going to help them get a lot more sales in the largest EV market in the world. And they're going to be looking to see even more investments with this partnership. So this is great. It's beyond a capital investment, according to William Lee Bin, and it's going to help them empower a lot more technologies and service systems. They're trying to make their batteries more efficient and expand the scope of their swap stations. They're also going to be expanding to different regions. So as to get better, it's going to not only help them, but it's going to get a lot more sales in. So I think this is going to be very, very key for their expansion goals as they plan on doubling their sales, at least for the year. But whether or not that happens depends on earnings. We'll have to see what they tell us, at least during earnings. To what extent will they increase their sales? And that's just going to be coming out in just a couple of days with NIO's earnings. So with that being said, what's happening to the markets? We're still at extreme fear as the market saw a bit of a pullback today, but it's not the end of the world. What's going to be affecting this is going to be FOMC. Tomorrow we have three big things coming out. Number one, we have the interest rate decision coming out. We're expecting the Fed to basically keep things the same. There's currently a 100% chance they're going to keep rates the same. So I do expect that. Expect high volatility once that comes out at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And then at the same time, the second big thing is this right here. We have the economic projections report. The Fed is going to tell us what the interest rate projections are for 1 and 2 years out for the long term and the short term. So please keep that in mind. Will these numbers be lower than expected? Will they be higher? If the Fed is going to be expecting less cuts than before, that could be not good for the markets. If everything is the same, it could be okay. And if we expect more cuts, that's going to be more bullish. We'll have to see. Then last but not least, at 2:30, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech at the press conference. When he answers questions, expect a lot of volatility. Now, Jerome Powell mentioned there's lots of uncertainty involving the tariffs under this current administration, and the Fed has to be very careful with them because, we never know what's about to happen with the Fed. They could be making all kinds of changes depending on what happens with the tariffs and the effects they have on the economy. With fears of stagflation, this gives the Fed little leeway to reassure investors possibly. So could this lead to a lot of volatility? That is what some of the BlackRock analysts are saying. So you have to be very, very careful. And lastly, when it comes to President Trump, we haven't seen much of an update from his tariffs, but he did speak with Russian President Putin. He spoke with Putin, however you want to call him, dictator, president, whatever. But I just want to say that they spoke, and Donald Trump was saying that they had a very, very good conversation, making a lot of progress. We know that Russia is demanding a lot of things for the deal, for there to be a ceasefire. Ceasefire news, if they do get a deal done with, that could be bullish for the markets. But as of right now, we don't have that as negotiations continue. So Putin and President Trump were speaking. So far, they had a decent conversation according to Donald Trump, and that's all we could really say. There's not really much to be said until we truly see the deal signed. With that being said, I just want to make it very, very clear that NIO, it is technically uptrending. We're watching this 4.99 area as the main support. As long as we hold above that, we're going to likely continue to push for 4.5 or 5.5, and above as we look more bullish. Now, even though technically we look bullish, it depends on FOMC as well. If we get a big rug pull from Powell and we lose 4.99, we could be dumping to 4.8 or below again. And if we end up breaking past the 5.5 area, we're looking for a much bigger pump because that could be very, very good as well. So keep that in mind, guys, especially as time goes on. For SPY, we're trying to make a higher low here, so we have to see how this goes with this potential inverse head and shoulders. With this big red bar and the fact that we just barely held 560, it's honestly not looking too good. So if Jerome Powell gives us the rug pull, we're expecting these lows to be retested. If Jerome Powell pumps us, we need to get back above 570 to push. It all depends on what he says, so we'll just have to wait and see. Expect some consolidation tomorrow, and then it all depends on FOMC. The QQQ did not get a very good close. We're barely holding the 474 area. If Jerome Powell gives us the rug pull, we could dump back down to these lows at 466. If Jerome Powell launches this back up, we could try to make a recovery move. I was hoping the inverse head and shoulders plays out, but we never know, guys. It depends on Powell, so we'll see. For the Russell, I want to see this break past 205 to remain bullish. If we end up losing 201, we could be dumping depending on what Jerome Powell says. We also have a potential inverse head and shoulders on ES. Will Jerome Powell launch this higher back up above 5,700 at the very least to start pumping higher? Or do we end up losing 56.25 to start dumping? It could go either way, so keep that in mind. For NQ is once again in a very, very critical place. If we end up losing 19,500, we could be dumping lower. If we break past 20,000, we're looking for a big pump, so we'll just have to see how it goes. So give this the time it needs. For Bitcoin, we're making higher lows right here. If we could break past 83,500, we're looking for a pump. If we end up losing 81,250, we could be dumping. We're kind of in the middle, but I do think this could try to bounce a bit. For Nvda, we have also happened to have an inverse head and shoulders like pattern. We have to see if this 111 to 115 area holds. We have their very important conference coming out as they're about to be announcing their new chips, especially after the delay that came out for their other chips. That's going to be important. However, just keep in mind that with things that are going on right now, they're expecting a lot of computing power that's going to be needed to further AI. It's going to require a lot of investments, so keep that in mind. However, if we get a balance, depending on this inverse head and shoulders, we want to see this get back above 120. If we end up losing 113, we'll dip. It depends on what Jerome Powell says. Tesla's looking weak right now. We have a double top right now, and we're losing support at 230. We could continue to fall back down towards 218. If we get back above 238, we could try to bounce, so we'll see depending on these levels, but keep that in mind. For Aapl, if Aapl breaks 215, we're looking for a pump for 220. If we end up losing 210, we could be dumping. We're kind of in the middle, so give this some time to break out. We're still stuck, at least for now. For Coinbase, keep in mind that this kind of has like a inverse cup and handle. It's not looking too good. If we lose 175, we're looking for a much bigger dump. We got to reclaim at least 186 to bounce. For now, we're looking relatively weak, so please keep that in mind. For Amazon, we're making lower highs here. That's going to be very, very important, at least for the time being. If we don't hold support around this 190 area, it's going to be dumping more. And if we break past 195, we're looking for a bounce. It all depends on what is said tomorrow. The charts still look bearish as Meta is rejecting off its 20 EMA. We got some bad news involving a new lawsuit. This could be dipping all the way down towards these lows over here. The next level to watch would be around like, all the way down towards like the 560s. So please be very, very careful depending on how things end up going. For Microsoft, we're making a double top here. So if we end up losing support around 378, we could be dumping. If we bounce and get back above 385, we're looking for a bounce. But for now, we have to be very, very patient. For Google, we're making lower highs right here, so you want to be very, very careful. If we break past 166, we're looking for a rebound. If not, we could be dipping, so please be very mindful of that as well. The VIX is looking weak. We have kind of like a, we had this very, very big rejection that happened, but if we break past 22.7, it's going to be a bearish sign as we have a gap to fill. This would start, pushing, and this would be bearish for the markets. If it's the opposite and we end up losing like 19.5, yes, this could be turning back down. We'll have to see about that, guys, but we have to be very patient nonetheless. So I'm not calling anything yet. We have to wait and see what Jerome Powell says. That's obviously unpredictable. And we have to see how the market responds to that. So the market could go either way. But from a technical basis, the stock market is trying to make a higher low. It's not guaranteed right now. And there was some weakness today. And for NIO, we're making higher lows as well. So this has potential to break up past 5.5. It still looks bullish. But once again, guys, don't forget about FOMC. The American markets are very important. They affect the global stage, and what Jerome Powell says affects the entire market. So be very, very careful and do what you have to do, guys. Get ready for tomorrow. It's going to be a crazy day. Have a good one, and peace out.